welcome to Maryland's Coastal Flood Explorer, a new tool hosted by Maryland's Department of Natural Resources to visualize sea level, high tide, and historic flooding scenarios. I'm going to take you through a short tutorial on the basics of the tool, showing the features and some of the capabilities. I won't delve deep into use cases during this tutorial. We're starting out on the splash page here, where you can search by an address or you can zoom straight into a specific tide station of one of the many tide stations around Maryland. We're going to zoom in to Cambridge, Maryland to start out with. You can see in the center of the screen the tide gauge, which you can click on to access station information and historic water levels provided by NOAA. We're going to go over in the bottom left corner here to start off looking at our different types of flooding scenarios. The ruler shows the maximum height of water that is visualized in the tool. The small tick marks along the ruler show sea level rise scenarios because we're in the sea level rise tab. You can toggle to different tabs such as the high tide flooding tab or the historic event tab, which are all custom for this specific tide gauge. If you want to change tide gauges, you can click up at the top here, or you can just scroll around the screen. I'm going to click up here to change from Cambridge to the Baltimore tide gauge, where you can see my historic event thresholds have changed here on my ruler. For example, Hurricane Isabel was predicted to be 6.49 feet high in Baltimore, while it was only predicted to be 4.14 feet high in Cambridge. I'm going to click back to the sea level rise scenarios now and show one more feature of this tool where you can click on the small graph at the top to visualize the UMSES, University of Maryland Center for Environmental Science, sea level rise projections for this specific tide gauge over time. You can also click on these tick marks to draw the ruler automatically to that water level. Here I'll click on 2090 and you can see the water has drawn up to that level on the map. Next, we're going to move up and to the right where you can still search by address if you want to zoom in on somewhere else on the map. And then over in the right corner here, you can click on the information button to look at frequently asked questions and to find out more information about what went into the creation of this tool. There's a short section on tool navigation, a section on using the tool where you can navigate to DNR's page that has case studies for suggested uses of the tool, information on the modeling and the flooding scenarios that went into the tool. And finally, a section for feedback where you can email us at DNR with suggestions, comments, or questions. Next up here, you can click on the legend to view what is currently on the screen. You can see it has a section for the NOAA station, the depth of water, and then the green areas, which are low-lying elevation areas that may or may not be connected to the main tidal waterways. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit to Cambridge for the next section of the tutorial. You can also toggle the color mode here in the top right corner before I move on from this section to be a light mode or a dark mode for whatever you prefer. So now we're in the bottom right corner of the tool. In this corner, you can use the measure depth tool, the measure distance tool, the water opacity tool, and finally the base maps and layers to add additional context to the flooding map that you're looking at. I'll start off by using the measure depth tool. Here you click on the toggle button and then you can drop points to measure the depth of water at these points along your map. You can see that the darker areas will be a deeper depth than the lighter areas as visualized in the legend in the top right. We're going to go ahead and use the clear depth to take those off and move on to the measure distance tool. Here we're going to draw a polygon to look at the approximate area that is flooded here on this Cambridge Creek. We'll just do a rough drawing along this line, and when you're finished, you double click and we get an area of 3 acres. I'm going to go ahead and clear that tool as well and move on to the opacity tool, where you can change the opacity of your water that is shown on the map, basically making it more see-through or less see-through, more opaque. Finally, we have the base maps and layers tool, which is a great tool for adding context. You can click on things like building footprints, and now you can see the legend has updated to show building footprints, and yellow squares and circles have been added for where buildings exist in this area. You can also add things like our MyCoast public flooding data, which have now appeared on the map. Over here, you can see there's been a lot of flooding reported in downtown Cambridge in the past, along Water Street especially. I encourage you to explore the backgrounds and additional layers that are available and may meet your planning needs. You can also add your own layers online, and we have a PDF of suggested layers that is available for use in the tool. Thanks for following along for this tutorial, and I hope that this is useful for your planning needs. Again, please reach out to mdfloodexplorer.dnr@maryland.gov if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions. Thanks so much.